Let's go to probably maybe one of the underrated games of the weekend, but a huge game that could have monumental impact, and that is the MAC championship. The Miami Redhawks, they're 10-2 on the season, 7-1 in the conference. They're going toe-to-toe with the elusive Toledo Rockets, 11-1 on the year, 8-0 in the conference, maybe one of the best Power 5 teams. A lot on the line for Toledo in this game. Good showing out of Toledo. Big win if they can beat the Redhawks, who are down Gabbert in this game. He's out for the year with a broken leg. If the Rockets can do that, they have a legitimate chance to be the group of 5 representative in the New Year's Day 6. If they aren't, you're off to the Bahamas Bowl or the Boca Raton Bowl or whatever, or maybe the Gasparilla Bowl. I don't know who the representation is at. But this is a fascinating one, Fresh, because everything right now points that Toledo should boat race Miami. But line opened up. Toledo is only a 7.5-point favorite. Over-under is low in this game, 46.5 points. This game was close earlier in the year between the two. They played at Miami. In that game, 21-17, win by the Rockets at Miami. Fresh, DeQuan Finn, Penny Boone, electric. But what you got for me?
Well, I mean, like you mentioned it, 2 losses for Miami of Ohio, the Redhawks. Obviously, the season opener, to the Miami Hurricanes, and then Toledo in that 21-17 matchup. Been playing pretty solid football. Really, the defense has been carrying the football team. Offense sort of managed its way through. They're not extremely explosive, and now with Gabbert not playing, that really puts the quarterback situation at bay where you don't have that experienced leader under center. You have the backup trying to get comfortable and moving the offense as they can, which might work to your advantage because Toledo might not have film on them or as much film, so it sort of helps from that preparation perspective. But overall, you're coming in with a little inexperience offensively. You've got to have that defense, play the best because Finn and Penny, they're the fuel for the Rockets, and they are explosive with either of them get the football in their hands. So you can't really let them get loose. You can't let them get too far ahead, or they're just going to coast the rest of the way. And then that's where the approach needs to be very defensive oriented for the Redhawks and locking it down. These teams don't play very much outside of this season. Prior to this season's game, they hadn't played since 2011, and then before that, they met in 2009. That's the last time the Redhawks beat Toledo was in 2009. So it's these obviously opposite divisions, don't play much, don't have that familiarity. But a chance right here for Toledo to win back-to-back MAC titles and really keep that momentum going. It's still Tulane ahead of them. Other schools, a couple in that group of 5 situation for New Year's 6. But if they go out there and put on a show and Tulane loses and maybe they get bumped up, you never know what happens with the voters who get impressed. So go out there and do your thing. But in the end, if you win the MAC back-to-back years, you have a trophy, that's still something. And the MAC is one of those solid group of 5 conferences that has really, really rich tradition and history that back-to-back titles don't come few and far between. You've got to be able to lock it in there. So I think let Finn roll, let Penny roll from their offensive perspective. I really see Toledo jumping out in an early lead. This game is going to be in Ford Field, in a dome, on a turf, the fast track. You don't have to worry about the elements up there in the Midwest coming into play in this ball game. Get after early, score early. Do not let Redhawks hang around. Miami, if you have any chance of the football game, defensive turnovers, maybe you get a blocked field goal or a punt to the house, something you've got to make something creative happen and something really explosive happen, chaos plays as people call them, to really keep yourselves in the football game. You don't have the offense that can get on track meet with Toledo right now. And considering their only loss was by 2 points to Illinois, granted Illinois was an under 500 football team not going to a bowl, but it's still a Big Ten program. This team has shown they have the prowess and the ability to compete at a high level. So Miami, you're going to have to really lock it in, play tough defense, cause turnovers, run the football, milk the clock, try to be the more physical football team. Do not let Penny and Finn get loose and the rest of those guys for Toledo, because it could be a long afternoon. The game could be over at halftime. You've got to slug it out and make it ugly and slow it down to a pace where it's on your level, in your terms. Do not play on their level because you might not be able to catch up. In the end, I think Toledo blows past Miami and puts on a show and wins big. I don't think I'm going to say maybe like a 21, maybe 24-10, maybe ball game, maybe 24-3. It's going to feel a lot worse than what the score is. I think they're going to shut it down in the second half and run it out, but Toledo will win comfortably.
Fresh, I'm going to give you. I don't know if I want to call this a hot take, but again, Miami's game plan has really got to be similar to what they did in the regular season matchup. You take a look. Toledo made a strong commitment to the ground game in that football game, and they ran the ball 46 times. Now, would I advise Toledo to go away from that offensive game plan? Absolutely not. But they did pick up. It took them 46 carries to get 158 yards. That's about a 3.4 yard average per carry. Finn did have a touchdown, but you take a look at Penny Boone. Penny Boone is one of the best running backs in college football that isn't he might be the best running back that's not at a major program. And I'll give you a little peek behind the curtain. Fresh and I are working on our post regular season All-American teams right now. And Mr. Penny Boone is getting a second team vote from me to make our All-American squad. The kid is electric. And if you look back at that Red Hawk game, he had 17 carries on the game for 73 yards, 4.3 yards per carry on that. Didn't find the end zone. But if you look for him on the rest of the season, the kid's averaging over 7 yards a carry. He's got 15 touchdowns on the year. He's got a long of 71. The kid is electric with the ball in his hand, and he's done that only on 183 carries on this year. That's why I look at him, and I see him being one of the best running backs in all of college football. DeQuan Finn is just a fun quarterback to watch. These are the type of quarterbacks you see out there in the MAC. They're going to run around a little bit. They're going to sling the ball all over the place. They're going to play fast and loose with everything. He's done a good job, though, protecting the football, only 8 interceptions on the year. He's taken a couple of sacks. Need to look at this. This game changed with Gabbert going out for the season. When he wound up having surgery on his right leg, I really think that there's a difference there. If Miami can stop Toledo's ground game, then we got a ball game, folks. Buckle in and get locked into the MAC football game because you're going to see a close back and forth one. If Miami cannot stop the run game in this football in this contest, then it's going to be a long afternoon. I got 31-13 in this game, Fresh. I got Toledo winning big. I think that the committee is going to look at Toledo and say, that's a really entertaining team. And Toledo has shown that they've been able to at least put up points against the big boys. And at the end of the day, when you're talking about bowl matchups, that's what you want. You want offensive explosions because these games, again, if you're not in the playoff, they are meaningless bowl games. Yes, people will say, oh, they do a bunch for your recruiting. Your alumni might get a nice little vacation in the month of December. But realistically, it is all about getting the best TV ratings that you can have. I'm going to go with Toledo for this. Hey, I'm advocating put them in the New Year's Day 6, man. We've had a couple of years here. Tulane had it last year. They've had their day in the sun. They beat USC. Let them live on that one. It's time to put the Rockets in New Year's Day 6. Give me the Rockets in, though, 31-13. And I actually have the under coming in, which shocks me a little bit. I thought I'd be saying take the over.
And folks, this game's on ESPN, so if other matchups in that noon hour are not enticing or kind of get out of hand early, switch on over and watch them action because you're definitely gonna enjoy it.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one.